Chico. Got me frozen and so better leave. I'ma swap it for time and I take it for me. When we jittery base some days I'm on Theo, I'm gone. Palomino Patron, Cappuccino Patron, Alameda song. Stack it up, stack it up.
Wait, what? What's up, gang? Welcome back to the weekly expression of the vibes and the energy that exist in the Hxro Discord. If you want to join that energy, you go to hxro.com, click the community tab, and you join the community. But you're getting it here live now, and we've got a lot of stuff to go over. So let me say what's up to my main man and co-host, RT Random Task. How's it going, buddy? I can't hear you, dude. You're muted, bro. No,
oh, jeez. Why was I muted? I didn't.
All right, let me say it again.
Anyways, what's up, dude? Yeah, no, I'm good. Feeling a little left out of the fucking minting. You guys are Solana minting in the pit. But I'm not going to start now because I know once dudes start flexing their mints in the pit, by day 3 of that, I've missed the best part.
I haven't, just to be clear, I haven't minted anything.
You shut your mouth. Oh, you're just like buying and selling them post-market.
Buying high and selling higher.
Yeah, sweet, dude. Yeah, there's a lot going on in Solana right now. I have been watching from bird's eye. I've been watching with the bird's eye view. But, you know, I guess I'll start by saying this. I missed it. I missed a lot of it. And so I'm not rushing in now because even in a long bull market, which is where I think we're headed, there's long periods of consolidation, there's dips. And so, yeah, I'm just gonna have to wait for one of those. And I think it may have just started on something like GUAC, which just had like a face rip yesterday, although the high came in on new highs in volume. So
nonstop, my friend.
I know exactly. GUAC is nonstop until I buy, so be careful. You know,
I'll pull that
your
up.
eyes peeled. GUAC is probably set to just consolidate here for a bit, and from that, I may be able to spot a setup emerging. Otherwise, I can just chill.
Yeah, I mean,
like I'm not like I just don't rush in to buy that stuff in December. Like it's just not. I think
it does look like a local top, but it also kind of looks like those, like, just, you know, those like little devices you can put on your wrists, the slingshots. Yeah, it looks like that. It looks like it's just like, because you see all the time, like down W, you know.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. So this is not about coin tops. It's just about like me being a sideliner and picking my time. You know, I can't help but feel like we're set to just kind of chill for a little bit here. Now, whether that chills like throughout the ecosystem or whether that's like Bitcoin just kind of rolling over here through into the new year, like I don't know. I'm not sold on just like up only, but you know, I remain pretty heavily exposed. I'm not taking any new positions for now, and I'm you know, as most people would be, I think I'm kind of like looking forward to the idea of buying some stuff a little lower, a little cooled off. So that could totally be cope. But interestingly, my highest performing thing right now is my stock portfolio. It's like all these crypto miners that I bought. Yeah. Coin is my biggest position, and then like things like Riot and Mara, Marathon,
Clean Spark, dude.
Clean Spark I don't have. It came to my attention like a month ago, and I didn't have cash in that account to pick some up. But you know, again, yeah, if the setup comes in on that, I'd like some Clean Spark. It's on my list now. I just don't have any yet. I hold some Bitcoin and like ETH ETF. I was actually just thinking of swapping those out for Clean Spark if it gives me like a good entry, because I got enough exposure in crypto. I don't really need low beta stock ETF shit. So yeah. Anyways, but you've been right. As usual, you are like at the vanguard in the pit of like what's going on right now with these NFTs, with some shit coins. Like, tell me what's going on. Like, what are the cool kids doing these days?
You know, all bear I have not been. People ask me about this or that, and I'm like, I have no fucking idea. I'm trading Bitcoin, but yeah, I've fully pivoted. But like before we get into, because I got tabs open for days to tell you about stuff. But let's first, like in pure traditional fashion, do the majors. Let's get
Yeah.
the sense, and then we'll dive into the deep end.
Sounds good.
So on the monthly, I've noticed BTC is probably going to close at resistance here.
Monthly.
Right?
You're killing me, Smalls.
I like to go from monthly down.
Okay. All right.
That's what I'm telling myself. I like to go
Start at the monthly. I will plug my ears and I'll come back at the weekly.
because it is monthly resistance, right? Like any way you slice it, this is the biggest down wave of the entire bear, and it was initiated by these two monthly candles.
Okay.
Right. So we could safely say that like this is a tough order block to chew through.
Fair enough. Yeah.
If we go down to the weekly though, like it looks great. We're above resistance on two fronts. This resistance down here at 31, 32, and this resistance that started here at like 36. We're above both of them. So it starts to look a lot better. There's no signs of fatigue on the oscillators. Like,
yo, try this. Push F11 on your keyboard.
F11, dude. All right, cool.
Boom, boom, crispy.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it looks great on the weekly IMO.
I know it does. It's just kind of like it's literally just melting up. It looks like vertical accumulation.
But it's interesting that it stopped here at this
we love.
bearish breaker. So we had a down candle that led to like an exit pump / bearish retest. And then we came down and we broke through that down candle, leaving behind this sort of OB, you know, ICT traders call it bearish breaker. And that's exactly where we stopped, dude. Pretty interesting. So I think
which you could expect. I mean, whether it reverses or not, you could expect there to be a battle there.
For sure. Yeah.
You know, I'm the thing that caught me, go to the daily RSI, like that trend breakdown was kind of
great.
Interesting to me anyways. And I'm not, you know, Mr. RSI, so go ask CBS on Twitter, but I would say that if you look at the RSI, I've just put a little trend line on what was an uptrend and now is broken down. That's concerning to me, and it kind of made me think like maybe that's a precursor to just a little roll down here where we just form a range in this big fat consolidation we've had, which would kind of make sense to me into the end of the year. I don't anticipate an approval of any kind of ETF until like early Jan 1st to 10th kind of window.
Right.
And that makes perfect sense as far as like funds and people like entities, institutions, whatever, like deploying capital. It strikes me as odd if there was major decisions in capital being shoved into the market in December versus like waiting till the calendar year turns over.
Yeah, it's totally like,
could we get some chill time through the end of the year?
Point to that, I think, right? Like,
yeah,
it's for so many confluent reasons. Like, it would make sense if we didn't necessarily nuke here, but just chilled out and chopped, right?
And just drove people crazy who are looking for the breakout and for people who are looking for the nuke.
And I think like if you get this down, my plan is if I get this line right here, I'm bid fully because it's both a retest of this like hell of a range here. And then it also fills this fucking daily inefficiency that's vast. Like, look at this box, right? Like,
what's the price of that? Like low end to high end, like 30 to 32, eh?
That inefficiency, yeah, 32.8 down to 30.2. I think it would make sense to tag the midpoint of that imbalance. And
32.8 is smack dab in the middle of the pump chaser zone. It's not like that.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah,
and it would be sweeping all the lows that we've just kind of had on the way up here. Like it would just be a total washout, which kind of makes sense.
It makes too much sense.
Pre ETF approval, right? Like let's go pick up some more if we want.
Yeah,
and I think Coach in the chat here, our producers, like 30 to 32 is written at some point. And look, I know there's a ton of people watching that level. It reminds me of like 25K back earlier this year where it's like, man, what was the but 25 came in 3 times and people didn't want to buy it. So
in the 2020 cycle though, do you remember the Gap boys? There was like a CME gap. I think it was at like 12K or something like that. And everyone was like, for over a month, there was a whole clan of people on CT that were just like, oh, we're going to like, it was capo, like the prelude, right? We're going to tag that CME gap. And we never did. And I think to this day still have not. So I kind of have to be like, I gotta prepare for it to not tag that imbalance, just in
Yeah,
case.
I'm like, and that's the really important thing here is, through that stock portfolio, I've got like pretty sick beta to Bitcoin. And then through like investments, I've got tons of exposure to this thing. So when I go 60% cash, it's not like I'm out of the market. I don't feel ever out of the market. In fact, I feel like if I sold my whole portfolio right now, like in my crypto holdings, like I'd still have some pretty decent exposure to this. And I only point that out because I don't want people listening to this thinking that, I'm risking missing out on what's coming in the next 2 years. I would never do that. I think that's stupid.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to just stay balanced. Having a little bit of cash to buy those dips makes it a lot easier to stomach them and a lot more exciting to get them.
Totally. I think like anyone who is like fully deployed right now without any, it's like, what is the chance of us hitting that 32K imbalance? Like, it's probably, for me, it's like higher than 50% that gets filled. So it makes sense to have higher than 50% powder like waiting.
Yeah. You know what would be a sick scenario? I was talking about this yesterday. ETF rejection.
Oh,
which creates our end of bear market 40% in one day that you've been waiting on.
Yeah.
And what would happen after that, right? We would have a very sharp, quick sell-off, and then we would have BlackRock appealing and winning.
Something
like if I was BlackRock, really, I would want that. I would want to use every piece of ammunition in my arsenal to ensure that I got maximum exposure. Unless, of course, they invented Bitcoin and they are Satoshi Nakamoto. But
I saw a compelling documentary that made the case that the founder of Blockstream is Satoshi Nakamoto.
Is he? Okay. Well,
No, I'm just saying, like, I'd never heard that. I'd heard like, what's the British dude? Hal Finney.
Like,
yeah. And like,
I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, it'd be funny if one of these, BlackRock-esque type people, like, or entities were the ones that created. But all that aside, I just, I don't really want to see it rejected. But my God, would it be? Because it wouldn't mean anything. Like it wouldn't mean the end of anything. It would just set up such a sick cycle long positioning. Because like they would appeal it. Like it's gonna come. So if we were fortunate enough for their first swing to be rejected, that would be a fortunate thing. Man can dream. But I don't think so.
How narratively complete would it be if we had a month of people being like, Capo was actually right, and then it just reverses from there.
And as I sit here saying these things and listening to myself, it does, like, it sounds like immense cope. And that is probably a product of being underexposed to my favorite ecosystem, which is Solana. Feeling underexposed. I mean, it's my biggest altcoin holding.
If you have,
I don't have a ton of like Solana shitcoins. Like I got a big position in Hxro. Obviously, I'm staked. I'm investing in some of the things that are launching over on Solana, so they'll come eventually. But things like GUAC. We were talking about it the other day. We had GUAC on here to interview them, and like I didn't get a bag. And then I kind of like didn't get a bag, and the two times I looked, it was like up a bit. Now it's just mooning. So there's a few that I'm like, oh, come back. And so maybe that's the core of this copage.
GUAC has an $18 million market cap. Compare the tool set of GUAC.
Dude, it was 10 the other day, and I was like, it was mooning the other day, and it was at 10, and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm so mid curve right now. I just need to like buy a little bit just to be in, because it could just 10x from here. And now you're saying it's already 18. So
how regular though is it for something with that tool set to be 100 mil market cap on ETH, right?
Yeah. Like no, I know, dude, that's scary. It's scary to think of how much potential upside the stuff still has. And that's where I was literally just having this conversation yesterday at length about sort of how to try to not mid curve this. I just look at that chart on the daily and I'm like, I just
bought.
And as soon as I buy, you guys better watch out, because this is how tops are made.
You throw a couple $100 in and it's like, okay, cool. Now I don't have to cope. And then if a big correction
comes, and that's what I'm doing in my head when I try to set up. If my entry's not like perfect or near perfect, I'm like, I just pass. And it's because I'm trying to get too big a position in my head. I'm like, I need a full size position. It's like, no, dude, you can just punt some hot air at it.
You just have some fun, dude.
Yeah, have some fun.
But
Relax.
also, like,
Relax and have some fun. So, but here's the other thing. Flavors come and go throughout entire cycles, right?
yeah.
Always, right? It's this ecosystem. It's hot ball of money there. The hot ball of money is 100% living at Solana right now.
Oh, first, have you?
In this cycle, I expect that hot ball of money to return to Solana, but it also I expect it to leave Solana at some point.
Well, for sure. We talked
so
about.
I'm just gonna wait till next time somebody tells me Solana's shit, and that'll probably be in the next 12 months. I would say in the next 5 months. And but in the meantime, you know, I've got a ton of exposure through various avenues. Like I'm not too worried. That's why I've kind of managed to sit out this long. But it was starting to get to me yesterday when I saw that rip on GUAC. I was like, okay, I'm feeling it now. So the top is near, or I'm about to like ape in, and that'll be.
It's at 93 on the RSI. Holy shit. Yeah, like the thing about GUAC though, right, is it has because all of the commentators in the Solana ecosystem on CT are talking about it in the meme coin like conversation. But if you get a rotation of capital from ETH to Solana, like all those people, I imagine, should notice that, like, wait, this has a toolkit. Like, this is an actual protocol.
Yeah, it's really cool, dude. We interviewed them, and I was like, damn, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Continue.
Well, yeah. So I just think it could really just reprice to like 100 mil market cap pretty easily. I don't think it's that difficult. But yeah, GUAC's tight.
I think it could too. And that's the thing. It's like, you know, throw in $1,000, like whatever, and then, you know, have your little free position. But yeah, I was just doing more like self-awareness stuff this week, where I was like checking my own temperature on some of this stuff and trying to gauge where I think we're at in like the shitcoin cycle. And not, you know, you get to think in cycles, right? Like if you look at a full bull cycle from previous years, there's always periods of insanity and then periods of mope, and the mope will return, like you know, midterm, and I'm just going to be there with this.
Do you know where I think we're at? I think we're basically a DeFi summer emotionally.
Yes, so there's a great example. DeFi summer 2020, July, August. A lot of guys made a lot of money. Things were ripping. That's happening right now.
Wait,
and then
no.
through the end of that
DeFi
year and in the start of 2021,
2019, wasn't it?
It was before the DeFi summer was 2020.
It was before BTC took off, but it was before the COVID correction. We went to 14K on BTC, wasn't it?
No, DeFi summer was July and August 2020, almost certainly.
Oh,
because we invested in this project called Trust Swap, and it fucking like 1000x. Well, 1000x the next year. It came out at like 25x, and it ran to like 300x. And that was really kicking off DeFi summer. And that was June 2020, July 2020. Point is, like, that's a really good analogy. I'm glad you brought that up to try to help illustrate what I'm saying, because I'm sure I'm sure there's a lot of people watching that are also kind of like, like everyone's making money. Things are going up. What do I do? And you just got to be careful, because there's a long period of likely upward trajectory coming for this whole market. And in DeFi summer, like especially like late July, late August, anyone getting that FOMO and cycling in got wrecked. And then that stuff went ham in like spring of 2021. And then again at the end of 2021.
Oh, you mean when BTC corrected down to 30? Is that when DeFi summer like tanked?
Can you show the chart you're looking at?
It wasn't DeFi summer ended. No.
DeFi summer was literally like July, August, COVID,
right here,
lockdown 2020. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me go see. Can you zoom in a bit? Yeah. Bitcoin was just chilling, and then like YAM came out, Trust Swap came out. I'm pretty sure that's when things like Aave and Comp all kind of came out. That was like right there. So through this whole period of like chill, where it really squeezed real tight there into July, that was DeFi summer. And I say that really through the Trust Swap lens. I mean, I didn't really participate too much in the on-chain. You know, Uniswap was still a lesser known good on the market. First time I ever used it was July 2020. buddy of mine had
Wait,
been
so
swapping them for
okay,
a while, but
so this was DeFi Summer. Total 2 had
yeah,
this move, but
peanut,
like the
right?
correction was nothing.
I know. And you also think total 2 though, like these were new coins all launching on Uniswap. I don't know how much included in like something like total 2 there would have
Wow.
been. So that total 2 probably represented like the more like stalwart altcoins
Yeah.
and whatever else. But
Oh,
yeah,
look at
point
total
is this
2,
shit
dude.
comes in waves, guys. And if anything, I think what we've just been through and what we are experiencing right now is like a sick breakout into what we'll look back and be like, damn, that's when the bull market started. And keywords started. So like I'm, feeling a little FOMO. It's always nice to have just made a bunch of money. And I have through the stock stuff. And, I do have a big bag of HNT. Look at HNT. HNT has been ripping. That's been good.
Oh yeah, HNT.
So this is the thing too, is like, you got to kind of keep that awareness. Like it's very easy to be like, I'm missing.
It looks like nothing, but it's huge.
No, it's ripping, dude. And it just printed its weekly W, and now it's like it's not even doing the dip thing yet. It's just kind of taken off. So I'm loving HNT. It's kind of like an under-respected Solana coin because they had their own chain, and then they were like, we don't need our own chain. They moved to Solana sometime this year, and they got listed on Coinbase kind of recently, like in the last couple months. And they've got a few new things, and then they're like DPIN, decentralized physical infrastructure, whatever. So that's kind of
what else is decentralized physical infrastructure.
Yeah, POKT. So it gives me good vibes. Got a big old bag of helium. So yeah, it's like I'm not sitting out of the market. I think I'm just caught up staring at some leaderboards in the last 10 days where I feel weirdly handicapped by it. I'm like it's like I can't reach out and just touch these things and buy them because they're just out of my plan zone. And there's periods of that where that's going to happen. So I've been leverage trading Bitcoin and round tripping really nice trades and having a great time. We tickled Monday's range today, boring shit. And then I always zoom out after especially after if it's a stressful day and you kind of come out flat negative fees or even down a bit or up a bit, it doesn't really matter. You come out of it and you're like, oh, that was not a super fun day. But then you go look at bird's eye and you're like, damn, everyone's having fun over here. What am I doing over here? So it would be, you gotta be careful, dude. If you see me posting on-chain shitcoins and Solana, get the hell out, because I've been doing that hold off thing, and when you finally cave, always the top. So I'm trying my best not to for you.
The meta right now, if we're talking about shitcoins, let's distinguish there's altcoins and then there's shit. There's airdrop bullshit, there's shit. Myro is one. The fellas in the pit were like, yo, check out Myro, grab it, and it was 18 million market cap. Myro,
MYRO.
It's the name of one of the Solana co-founders' dog. And I bought some, just a little bit. I threw in $80 or some shit. And then I was like, wait a minute. I don't believe in this thing. And I just bought more GUAC.
Yeah. Myro has round tripped its most recent breakout from, looks like yesterday. No, 10 days ago, 11 days ago. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of that. I think GUAC is one that I might even just watch through this little pullback. It's on I wouldn't even call it a dip today. It's just kind of it blew off yesterday, and it's gonna just chill now for a bit. So I know did I talk about retiring perps? That's embarrassing. Yeah, I went through a period 2 weeks ago. And
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and then I caught a sick, that I basically was here's my final trade, and I threw it on, and it doubled up my account. I was like, okay, I guess we're back.
Damn.
It's still, it's two things. It's a distraction from positions like helium and some other stuff that I just don't really want to be looking at P&Ls and looking selling, touching. So it's kind of nice in that sense, as long as you're positioned well. And I think it's playing both sides. In one sense, it's distracted me from touching good positions, and in the other sense, it's prevented me from taking new good positions. So
I think
balance.
If you want to just fill up your time and have fun, right? But not risk your dry powder, just take a small ass bag, $2,000. Maybe that doesn't get you into the NFT meta going on Solana, and we'll cover that. But if you go and you say, I'm going to go participate in all of the protocols there, and I'm going to learn about shit. I'm going to bid shit that's low enough for me. Like there's some Solana NFTs that repriced from like 2 to 10 Solana in the last 24 hours, right? Like,
yeah.
You can try.
I also have to be weary, and this is really gonna age me, but I have to be wary of my taxes. I'm very much determined to not just destroy my tax file. And so NFTs are probably the worst at that. I've never had any luck, or like I've never tracked them very well. I haven't made much on them, so it's not been a big deal. But
yeah, me neither, dude.
I like my file is clean right now, and I'm not trying to go too far off the deep end into like reverse LP leverage trading NFTs. Like, you get into that and your tax accountant's just like, yeah, sir, that'll be $20,000 to figure that out. Like, I got a clean file. It's coming into the end of the year. I'm not trying to fuck with it.
That makes sense.
But that's probably not the smartest,
So, okay.
The best money I made was on obscure shit. But
I want to drill down to some thesis here, because I think I've started to formulate an opinion on kind of this recent cycle move, right? So here's Solana on the monthly, right? It ran up and it found resistance right at this monthly imbalance. It did it very fast. It did not seem to give a fuck what BTC was doing the entire time. And it
did it in the face of FTX selling from there.
And it changed the narrative around Solana single-handedly, this one move, right?
No.
And I don't think it stops here. Here's BTC on the monthly, because all of these coins from the bear market have some monthly imbalance that they're all filling. So with BTC, it filled this monthly imbalance right here. And if we drill down to it's obvious on the monthly that it had some trouble here at the midpoint, but eventually it just ran to the top of the imbalance. And that's what Solana decided, I'm going to do that same shit. And so here's where it's consolidating on the monthly. I wouldn't be surprised.
At that midpoint.
Exactly. The midpoint of the imbalance. And then look at AVAX. Here's its imbalance, $40. You have FTM kind of has one right here, 95 cents. So I've just been charting those out on everything, but I do think Solana leads whatever's coming for the foreseeable future. Just on the simple fact that it reignited an entire ecosystem around doing this first after BTC.
Yeah. I've also, I don't know if you noticed this, I've really enjoyed seeing the tweets that we kind of all knew were coming this cycle, which was seeing things like, not gonna lie, first time bridging over to Solana, and it's so dope. I can't believe I never did this before. It's amazing how many people actually never tried Solana. Now, there wasn't a ton to do over there, to be fair. There was a few projects sputtering doing these things.
Compared to what it is now, it sucks.
And it's also the other thing too. It was a little buggier. Phantom wallets sometimes didn't respond as well. And you just got to think back too. That's a lot of how Ethereum started, right? It was quite buggy. It was 2-minute block times. It wasn't ideal, and now it's flying relative to its earlier self, and Solana is no different. So I'm very refreshed to see .eth on Twitter.
And it's got Sam in jail is behind it.
Yeah,
he's gone. The fucking guy that ended up becoming the stain on this whole thing here is gone.
He's out. The cancer has been removed.
Exactly.
And
so it's such a comeback narrative. It's a story you can get behind. The people feel it, man.
Jump is out too, aren't they? They just did a deal with Wormhole this week.
This is ETH.
If we're looking at also ETH, if we're looking at things like the news, I'm pretty sure I just saw a buyout. Wormhole officially bought Jump out, so it's not Jump's baby anymore.
Yeah,
I think Jump is trying to kind of distance themselves after the market manipulation relating to Luna. So they're probably going to just chill on the whole "look at us, we're so cool" thing. And they just got bought out or some kind of deal with Wormhole is its own thing now, which is great. Again, less major centralized entities being associated at that level in Solana, I think is positive for everything Solana.
This monthly on ETH looks amazing. It does.
The weekly, dude, look at the weekly. Retested that low end. I mean, I almost Well, I did. I would say almost. I almost went all in on ETH. I flipped my ETH or my Bitcoin over to Ethereum when we retested that level on like the CZ day at like 20 or 19.
It's at resistance, but it looks like it does look like it's just going to go right through it, especially on
Yeah.
the month.
Well,
On
yeah,
the
it's just that
monthly,
it's
like,
just that, and it's funny because that level you have on there is different. That's like an imbalance or something. It's also just like a candle body low level. It's something like 1929. No, the 1929, like the low. And if you go to the weekly, that's the
Oh,
monthly. I
this
never
one.
look at the monthly.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, that low, that
1930.
white line on my chart is like 1929. It's like a
Yeah.
candle body low on the weekly. My dog's going nuts. Reclaiming that and then retesting it. Oof. Just
Huge.
speaks to like, here's your new bull market range. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
One
Yeah.
sec. Let me go
So-
yell at me. 1 sec.
Well, yeah, I do think so. So my general thesis is that like other shit obviously will run, like ETH will have its time, all this shit will have its time, but like I just think it's here for now because I think this whole monthly imbalance gets cleared up to 80. You know,
80
struggle
level.
there.
I mean, it's everyone's level. It's the first major resistance. I love
It's the
it.
top of the monthly imbalance. It's exactly where we're struggling on this guy. Top of the monthly imbalance. So, and just like you can think of the imbalance as like, it's not
Mhm.
because like people didn't get a chance to fucking buy and sell there, you know, like the imbalance is just to show you the extremities of a range that hasn't been filled in, you know,
Mhm.
but also to
Kind of
show-
like a vacuum on the VPVR, isn't that essentially
totally,
the same
totally
thing?
that
A
Yeah,
gap, like it's a similar kind of concept.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all that said,
Mm.
I think Solana goes first. And have you tried out this platform?
No,
Tensor?
Tensor
So-
trade. Okay, I'm gonna check it out.
Tensor's volume was 6x that of Magic Eden the other day. Okay. And so I don't know if you've ever seen an NFT platform like this, but it's absolutely insane. Let me see if I can make sure I'm in pro mode. Am I? Yeah, I am. So here's pro mode. And this is how you view NFTs on Tensor.
This is what I need in my life. I'm always trying to like watch the action, and I'm like, I can't think of action without a chart.
Yeah, it's
I love it.
amazing. So this is Mad Lads, and it's the obvious blue chip for this whole cycle.
Mhm.
I have one of them, I don't think on the wallet I'm connected on, and they're insane. They're just like they're going to 1,000 SOL, I think.
I remember when they launched in the middle, I would say the middle of the bear, but it was like April this year. And I almost like, I kind of muted a few words on Twitter just because it was like so buzzy.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, as Solana comes back, yeah, like those are definitely on the inside of the scene over there.
Here's Tensorians. Now these are kind of like shovels in a gold rush because it's thought that Tensor will airdrop a token eventually, and you can farm points if you have a Tensor and you stake it. So as a result, the listings just go down and down. Price is going absolutely apeshit. But you get rewards for staking Tensors, and you know this platform is amazing. So it kind of seems like a safe bet long term. Not long term, but like good for like a swing that's lasts multiple quarters. And then this is the funniest one that we've all been aping in the pit is Kex. I picked one up.
I keep seeing that too. Yeah.
I picked my first one up at like, I think 30 SOL or something like that. And it was like a legendary. And these have no utility, no team, no roadmap. And they proudly state that on their social media.
We are just a JPEG.
Yes,
Non.
exactly.
Yeah.
The spirit of like CryptoPunks. And then not this one, not Silicons, but who is the other one? Is Lily. The founder of this, Lily and Lotus Gang, quit. He quit somewhere in here. And so the thinking is like, well, okay, now this has no meta. This is no utility. This is no team. This is no treasury.
Perfect. Yeah. Sounds ripe for the end of the move.
Exactly. So we were picking those up.
Real quick. I feel like such a bear today, but I want to point out this is something apparently like fail none when you have like a bullish trend in a market. It ends, or that phase. I'm not calling tops on like a bull market, but it kind of ends when like they say the shit rises last. So like when you see really weird, obscure stuff just going bananas, like that's typically a good time to check out. Now I don't know about that, but when you're like the team left, so it's pumping, I'm like, seems a little like that's where you get this irrational behavior is always on the ends of.
That's just something we said. Like
spectrums, yeah.
we spotted it, and then like the next day it was on the leaderboard here, and we were like, "Ha, that's hilarious,"
Yeah.
But they were like 2 sol or like less. Even like legendary ones, silicons, like new mint, like tons of volume. So it's just about following volume, following the tightness of spreads, and knowing what's like probably not going to reprice long term, but will reprice short term. Like there's currently tons of capital flowing through Tensor. And so, okay, if there's all this volume pumping through some of these like lower ones, like you got to imagine people are coming to this platform and they're like, okay, I can't afford a mad lad. Like what's going to be the next thing? And they look at the leaderboard and they look at what has volume. And that's why there's continuing volume on it. I think it just reprices. So it's like a call option on Solana NFT season. To use the overstated term. Yeah. Because it's like very cheap to buy, but like, yeah, you can imagine if this is at 1,000, like probably like a lot of these are at like 20, 30, So yeah.
Tensorians. What's Tensorians?
Tensorians are these guys. So
it's a cool name. And I feel like, is that associated with like Tensor Trade?
Yeah, it's their NFT.
Yeah. So
and you stake these guys, it warms up for 7 days, and then you're earning like more points on your NFT trades.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Yeah. So that's
points being like hinting at an airdrop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Dope.
I mean, before these so if you traded on Tensor before you racked up points, they dropped loot, which included these shards that you put together to mint a Tensorian. So to mint these, it ended up being like 20 sol. Because you had to like maybe source other shards or some shit like that.
And what are they trading at right now?
They're trading at 61 sol. I picked one up at like 30, like 4 days ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, I love it. I mean, there's nothing, from like speaking with Gunny and Rob and having them on here and building Hero Network on Solana, like there's nothing I like to hear more than things are going well on Solana. And like I said, my favorite thing right now is just like looking down the timeline and seeing people like, damn, I tried this out for the first time. Like we're having that onboarding frenzy right now. And it's just
but the infrastructure is like infinity times better.
Yeah.
And the protocols are not launched by like fucking absolute scammers. You know what I mean? Like
it's kind of been cleansed of that.
Yeah.
And I think anyone who spots any of that stuff now like calls it out and is like, fuck out of here.
Coach just noted that like, yeah, it was 20 sol, but like that would have been $350 at the time. So it wasn't much to mint these. But yeah, so that's that. Right. Also wanted to talk to you about sort of BRC20 ordinals land, because it seems to be heating up. Hxro got us all to ape into this Nat Mint. So I like minted a bunch of these, but apparently these are going to be like how do I say it? It's like they are representative of blocks. There were like 800,000 that went. So it has emissions because new blocks get created. But if you own a block, you have the potential of like an airdrop of another token, because like it's a mint function. I don't know much about how it works, but it seems interesting.
Sounds very confusing. I am waiting on the day to move my sub 10K ordinals. I did get nice and early. I was a cool kid this spring when I was getting into ordinals and they were going crazy. And I bought like, I don't know, 10 or 15 sub 10K ordinals, and they're just sitting where I put them. And I'm very excited to hear more about that. I think more like 2025 though. I look now and it's more like this horizontal dilution. Like they are going bananas, but it's just because there's like 43 million of them now.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for like anything purely for being sub 10K. And there is some garbage in the sub 10K. Like as far as like a JPEG goes, it's it's like the Walmart logo, the Nike
Yeah.
logo. Like somebody went and just made all the big brand logos thinking maybe they could sell them later. But so it's an unfortunate collection of 10 sub 10Ks, but there's some interesting projects in there, like picture wise. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the discords are starting to pick up again, the old like ordinal discords I was in. And yeah, I haven't touched them. So I think, you know, Punks, what launched in like 2017 and then wasn't really like cool and then was like super cool in 2020, 2021.
I think that like momentum like this, dude, does not reprice early. Like rather like momentum like this does not like this is not the top. You know what I mean?
For Solana.
For Solana NFTs, for
I don't think
Solana
so, yeah.
indeed. Like for Solana the token on the monthly, like I don't
No,
think
yeah, Solana to 80 is feeling like a lock to me before any significant chill. We've
Yeah.
had a pretty nice chill time right now. I've been kind of watching it on the 4-hour, like looking for hints of next leg kind of stuff, so I could trade that up. But what are you seeing like on the 4-hour, the daily for Solana? Like,
for Solana,
yeah,
I'm
like
just guided entirely by that monthly inefficiency. But
I
like
mean,
there are
which we're in the
some-
middle of. So I do expect us to break higher. I'm just trying to figure out how to slice it up so I can get as much
Okay.
size with as little risk as possible.
I'll tell you this: all the traders that I respect outside of you, sir,
Thank you.
were saying like you'll get a
Nice
chance
save.
at 40s probably, and I thought, okay,
Ooh, okay.
bottom of monthly imbalance, top of this 4-hour impulse, perfect zone, and then it's also a fucking breaker. It's a breaker from like way over here. So
like
it's like
46, 45.
yeah, nice little discount area for a
That's
breaker.
the high
like,
time frame 382 is 45. So that's
Yeah,
like the
but-
top of the pump chaser zone for the whole year.
I kind of think it's not going to happen.
Yeah, we'll
I
see.
kinda don't see it anymore. Like you got,
Good level.
I mean, yeah, there's no divergences, but like,
If
mean,
it
the-
happens, it feels like the kind of thing that would happen you know, fairly quickly on like an end of, you know, like if Bitcoin does kind of get a little distribution-y here and kind of roll down a bit through those levels we looked at earlier,
Yeah.
you'd look left and you'd say, oh man, like I was watching some headline, like whatever would cause that, or if it just happens. But yeah, it would probably, it feels like it would come in quick and it would be a wick. So getting prepared for, like, here's the other thing I'm thinking of. It doesn't hurt me if I'm sitting here kind of waiting for opportunities with some of the cash I have. It does not hurt me to like start bidding like 45, 46, 47.
well, you have Sol.
I do have a good old bag.
So
of
what the
Solana.
fuck? Like you don't have to put new cash on the market. You can just use your Sol to try to outperform Sol, which is what Sol NFTs are.
Yeah, like flipping and rotating it through Solana Eco.
Yeah.
And it's weird, man. I haven't done a lot of that. I'm messing around a lot with like Solana DeFi through the bear, oddly enough. But then, yeah, I've been weird.
This is getting an airdrop margin fi, dude.
last 2 months with that.
So what I've
Yep.
been doing is I
Very
have
good.
multiple Sol wallets, and I'm just like distributing little chunks of money to each of them, and then just using these protocols. So I have like borrowing and lending on like 10 different wallets right now, and then I'm farming Tensor on like 10 different wallets.
Yeah, that's not a bad play, dude. Airdrop farming.
Yeah. And with your
has been
your
really
stack
good.
of Sol, I imagine like you could fucking farm the shit out of margin fi, Lulo, Drift. These are all borrowing and lending protocols expected to have a token, and like you get an APR on your Sol for using them. Like,
While you're chilling, yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. I read a thread last night about Solana airdrop farming. Oddly enough, and those are all protocols that were mentioned. Actually, I'll share it here in the chat for anyone who's interested.
here, I'll pull it up.
Or you have that? Is it a thread you were reading as well?
No. If you send it in the chat, I'll fucking
Oh yeah, okay.
put it on the screen.
Let's see. Is this the one? Yeah, here we go, baby. Here, I'll put it in our chat and then you pull it up.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I haven't read this one.
Yeah, check out this one.
Cheeto already announced theirs, so I imagine you can't get in on it, but it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Drift. Yep. MarginFi, yeah.
Some are well known, some I had not
Jupiter,
heard of yet.
Jupiter has been around for a little while, right?
Yeah, it seems like inevitable that they would just do a token at some point. But yeah, I've used a lot of Jupe, so
Yeah.
I'll get that just by existing. Wait, did it already happen? 'Cause
Jupiter?
recently, I remember somebody saying like, "Oh, Pith and Jupe airdrops were great," and I'm like, "Wait, what?" Because I don't trust. Like, I see ads for like airdrops, and they're all scams. So I don't know.
No,
Yeah, so they haven't. Oh, it says airdrop tomorrow. Oh,
there's no way that's true.
yeah.
Oh,
Isn't it tonight? Like,
oh wow. Okay,
oh
no.
wait, look up that tweet right there above that one. Are you selling your Jupe airdrop like you did with Pith? Yeah. So I think that's, I don't know why I would see that. I don't know if I follow them.
Oh,
that's like the
Jupe.
tweet I saw that was like, wait, what? Maybe it happened.
Where is it?
I don't think so. I don't think it did. I don't think it did. I just think there's like so much trash on the internet. That's basically like Twitter is just messing with us. But you know, Moon Overlord is saying it's gonna hit smack. Some random saying tomorrow. I don't know. But yes, Jupe will be a thing. And I will get at least one wallet, maybe two.
My
just, you know,
biggest bag right now is probably POKT.
Where do you trade that?
I just buy it on MEXC and then transfer it to my ledger.
Sea.
Yeah.
Good old Mexican Sea. All right.
Dude, it's coming. It's like
I know.
It's just critically undervalued due to mechanistic reasons. Like it had a 4,000% APR when it hit $3, and now it has a less than 5% APR with a burn, and it just got AI meta.
Don't show me on things that just went up 200%. You know how I feel about that.
Dude, I bought GUAC at 200%. This thing is undervalued. This thing is critically undervalued.
You know what? I'm going to create. Here's what I'm going to do for you.
I told people to start buying it when it was fucking like.
I know, dude. Well, we've talked about this. I was like digging around in like gross, ugly old OTC Telegram markets in like 2021, looking at POKT at like 5 cents. Didn't buy it, and then it peaked at like $3. And now it's back to like 5-10 cents. Like it's probably a dunk for me to buy some.
Yeah,
you know what I'm going to do
like,
just for you? I'm gonna create a left curve wallet.
Just put an amount of money in it.
Be a reasonable amount of money, and I'm just gonna start smashing bid on a couple of these just to like put some. You know, I'm sorry.
If it went missing, you wouldn't notice that amount of money.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can have tons of fun that way.
And bang out doubles, yeah.
Yeah.
Bang out Doublés, Michael Doublé. Oh, here's a fun one. Speaking of Michael Doublé, go check out Dex Screener and type in Everest ID or just ID.
Oh wow.
Yeah, dude. Check it out though. Check it out. Vertical accumulation right now.
I'm pretty sure. I was pretty sure before it loaded that my first question was going to be why.
Yeah. Yeah, it took back like a year and a half of price action in the last 8 days.
Yeah, that's wild, dude.
Now it's a bit misleading in the sense that it's like 62 mil FTV and 450K market or liquidity. So nobody who's made any money during that can really grab that money. But they did release a new newsletter, a newsletter edition. Like a couple, like basically at the start of that pump, and they just talked about. I should just send it to you to pull up, but actually just go to their Twitter, because, anyways, so here's the thing with ID. First of all, I sold the last of my bag. I capitulated my bag at I got a big bag. I capitulated it at like 20 cents. So I feel like I could buy it back now at a win. I did pick some up at like 2 and 3 cents. It was already kind of pumping. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to buy a little. And then it's just like 3x since then. So it's, again, small size, small liquidity. But they did put out this newsletter. And so they talked about it. So they have their licensing. And here's where I think they have an interesting edge. I keep hearing about compliance issues with RWAs. So there's all these platforms, right?
Dude,
like,
it's so weird that you're saying this, dude.
Why?
Because fucking Revest, I think, the reason I'm butting in here is because I don't want you to say it. My prediction is that Revest just did the exact same fucking thing that you're going to say Everest did. But what did they do? They went for a TradFi RWA compliance narrative?
No, I mean, like the newsletter didn't really say we're pivoting. It was more just like, reminding everyone, okay, here's what we have. And it was like,
Right.
because they've been like quiet, right? Like that whole like dumping that happened, that wasn't like they were yelling from the top of the mountain about how cool they were. They like ghosted. And it's from what I can see. I didn't follow them very closely, but
I remember that.
yeah. So what they've got now is an exchange. So they've got like a fully licensed, all this kind of thing exchange with 200 pairs. They're saying in the newsletter it's like deeply liquid. I don't know what they consider deeply liquid, but competitive fees, all that. So they have this exchange running. So first off, they're an exchange token, I guess.
Oh, that's way different.
They have an L2 called Everchain that is, DeFi and swaps and all these things. Again, through their identity stuff, potentially could be all KYC and whatever. I don't know what it is now. I haven't tried it. And that's all before they get to like their identity wallet, which is originally what ID was all about, right? It was like, hey, we're going to have this like pseudonymous way for you to confirm your identity without, leaking all your details. And it's like, what a biometric wallet that's just based on like a face scan or eye scan that is your seed, which I thought was weird because if it ever just doesn't scan properly and you can't seem to fix it, like you're just can't get into your wallet. I set one up a year and a half ago when they did their beta and it didn't quite work properly. And I was like,
I tried to set it up and it did not work.
Yeah. And I was like, I would never put money into that wallet. I don't know where it's come from there. Anyways, at the end of this newsletter, they talk about RWAs, things like wrapping your Apple stock into a token that represents that Apple stock and then borrowing USDC against your Apple stock. And their licensing enabling them to do that in a compliant way. Whereas like all these RWA platforms, I don't know if they claim this, but this is the buzz in the chat I was in. It was like, a lot of these RWA platforms, they're just going to struggle to be able to offer that kind of service. So all that to say, after that newsletter came out, this thing's just been kind of nonstop, but obviously it's like insanely overbought. I don't think I've seen an RSI that high, but again, low liquidity. So I will be buying this thing in the dips that I find because I want my bag back and I want it back at half the price I sold it. Because it's probably just going to rip. Let's be honest. The thing that they haven't fixed, in my opinion, is like, or what I would like to see from them is like, the marketing and the polish. They got to put lipstick on this pig. Because, but the price action is insane. Like if you just look, like the depression that was the drip.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
It was horrid. It was like a year and a half.
It's that meme where like the guy's like, oh.
the year and a half of all that has been taken back already in the last like 7 days. It's kind of crazy. Like if you measure the time there.
Dude, check this out. I haven't even looked at this since the day that they published it. So maybe I'm wrong. Yeah.
So this is RWAs.
Yeah, so I bought this at launch actually, and I had one of their financial NFTs where you stake it, you put LP into this NFT that like time locks, and then it's like providing liquidity for them, and it's time locked, and so you get emitted tokens and you also get rewards off of it. So I did that. Obviously it didn't do very well. But they had this like unique NFT structure where you can time lock it, you can like password lock it, you can tie it to on-chain events, like if you're like a dev. It's like a very interesting use of NFTs, and it never took off. But now they publish this whole deck on this new Resonate protocol built on their financial NFTs, where basically the long and short of it is, let's say you're a fund manager and you have a shitload of T-bills. They are partnered with like the biggest T-bill tokenizer that works with Maker and shit. And so you can put your T-bills there. They will collateralize the tokenized T-bills and give you your yield in advance for a small fee. So if you have $1 million, or let's say 10 million in T-bills, and let's say it's going to yield at 100,000 in the next 3 months, they'll give you 95,000 plus your collateral back to use. And
they'll wait the 3 months and take their little fee. That's cool.
Yeah, so that's their plan. I sincerely doubt that any fixed income fund managers are ever going to use fucking Resonate, but I think people think it will.
You just take one, man, and narratives pump harder than reality, at least to this point in crypto. Eventually, I think some reality will kick in and some shit will really fly, and narratives will be like, you know, it'll turn into like actually do it or we don't care, because like there'll be some that are actually doing it and they're just super mooning. But for now, narratives pump hardest. You know, pre-mainnet hype always pumps harder than mainnet. Like this is the way to play the game. So
Yeah.
I don't know about 32 cents for me, but that little dip 2 days ago was a pump chaser zone for sure. Like, and that's kind of what I'm looking at on GUAC. If you just look at this as if it's GUAC and go to that wick from 2 days ago or 3 days ago,
17x from the bottom.
yeah, that's sick. That little red candle on the way up there, like that's guaranteed. Like that was a pump chaser zone. So
Right.
that's kind of like where I would look to get a fill. And there's probably one coming in on GUAC pretty soon here.
Yeah, I mean,
Or just
here,
tagged.
tell me
yesterday.
this. Does this line up with your zone? Let me just, this is going to be ugly for a second. Let me just draw this.
GUAC.
Does this line up on the 4 hour?
I'm pulling it up. Yeah, I'm gonna print it now. I'm so tired, dude. Like fucking babies. 3 babies.
Yeah. Oh,
Jesus.
yeah.
I don't know.
You're wrecked.
It's still just like a constant state of sort of wrecked. So yeah, don't cry for me though. It's beautiful. Kids are awesome.
Yeah,
they'll get cooler with time, but right now they're just.
But it's like CIA torture for like the first.
It's very.
It's like
up.
fucking
It's
torturing for information.
Breakdown. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Well, what is that? 13 to 16, kind of whatever zeros it is. Yeah.
1508.
No, I mean we actually just did a pump chaser zone because that wick was so freaking high. So the pump chaser zone is like 1877.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Like that's the 382 is like 1877. So we just tagged it. So this actually is where my, this is where I should be like mid. This is my mid curve entry.
Nice.
I'm gonna take a little. I'm gonna take a little today. That's it. That's it. That's all I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. I try not, like, with such small amounts of money, like if you really just split it up, like you do not have to worry about like, oh, what if it retraces back here? Like, okay, I'll grab a little bit more.
You welcome it. Yeah, no, that's the thing. And that's what I was talking about yesterday with my cousin. Actually, I was like, dude, I think I just need to like put in like some sandwich money, like some lunch money to these things and just enjoy the ride. So you just, and that's the classic thing. That's what a lot of people do during big uptrends or things. They're like, oh, I'm missing out. I'm just going to put in a little. Now I can chill because I'm making money. But if it really retraces, I'm also thrilled because I can like size up at the reload zone or whatever.
I mean, like,
which I do think I'll get a chance to do. I think what'll happen is I'll buy it here. It'll keep going up. So I'll say, thank God I bought it. But eventually I'll get a chance to buy it a little lower. Who knows, right? Could 10x.
You could change nothing about your current holdings, but still farm margin fi, lulo, drift. And if you wanted to, like, hey, like maybe grab like I don't know what you want to throw into stuff, but like if you grab like a 2 sol or 3 sol like high volume thing, like and then like sell it on a small like reprice up, you're farming Tensor as well, and you can risk very little in terms of your current, because your current positioning is heavy sol anyways, so it's like great. Put it to work,
Yeah. No, that's the other thing too, is I haven't done any SOL swapping. I've been swapping on Jupe and stuff to buy the Solana, but I haven't played like that game of like use your Solana to make more Solana. That's the kind of thing that I think on balance, if I was to look back at the last, say like even 2 weeks, especially for sure 2 weeks, but even the last month on balance, if I was to relive my life, I would say I'm going to focus just chilling on Jupe, swapping shit around, instead of like staring at like Bing X and leverage trading Bitcoin ETH. I had some pretty decent trades, and that's kind of what kept me at the trough, so to speak. But on balance, and then sometimes you just have a bad day and you're like, okay, like I'm kind of break even on 2 weeks, and then you look at the stress and time you put into it and you're like, well, this is
like a fucking job, man.
Stupid. Yeah. What do I quit my job? So meanwhile, like the swing trades that I'm in are just killing it, and I could literally be like sitting on a beach,
right,
sipping my ties.
I have fully converted to the side of light, and I truly do not care if we get that correction, because like most of my net worth is not in it right now. So that's great.
Most of your net worth's not in what?
Crypto.
Oh,
yeah.
What is it? What
It's
is it
mostly in dollars, freedom dollars.
Okay, so you've got a little cash position too, ready for some kind of Christmas gift.
I'm like probably, well, I ran out some accounts in the bear.
Yeah.
I also tanked some accounts. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And so I had like I turned like R bear drop plus like small capital into, you know, pretty substantial. And that's what I'm playing around with. Everything else has been cash since like mid bear market, like middle of the way down.
I remember that like kind of through your futures trading, you're kind of like, yeah, I live in cash. I move up and down in the market, but like I settle the cash and that's how I sleep at night. And you're looking like that's where you kind of pulled up that 31, 32 area. And you're like, this is where all that cash just disappears, turns into Bitcoin kind of thing.
Oh, for sure. Most of it would,
Solana,
but it probably wouldn't turn
or whatever.
Yeah. It probably wouldn't be Bitcoin. Unless
that's the thing. Yeah.
Last cycle I had like a base of Bitcoin collateralized, and then so I tiered up with like borrowing and lending margin. So I would like BTC and ETH base, that's collateralized, turned into like 50-60%, and we go to, you know, alt L1s and shit, and then maybe collateralize some of that even and go into the deep end.
Yeah. I got a question for you. It's about Maker.
Oh yeah. You had said
Maker. I think I was talking to, I keep bringing up my cousin Smeety Boop. He's been on the stream before. He's from my fund. We hired him to be an analyst, junior analyst. He's like a software developer in training over at university, and is also a TRI grad. So he's a bro. And he and I were chatting last night, going through all my Solana FOMO and talking through some stuff. Anyways, I said, look, and at the end of my rant, he's kind of like, so it sounds like you want some hedge exposure, you know, some kind of hedge for like the next, whatever that would be, 3-4 weeks, like basically like a Christmas correction or, you know, end of year tax, whatever that's going to look like. Anyways, he's like, check out Maker. Now, the weekly looks good. Everything like this, you know, big blast of volume off the lows, weekly W's, yes. But check out the daily. The daily is where the setup is. And then on the 4 hour, it actually just kind of confirmed a little setup today too, which was like my entry. But
this div.
Yeah, big fat divs at the highs, no more volume, coming into big higher time frame resistance to the left. And now it's just doing that short reload zone off of those highs.
Huge supply area here.
What's that? That's 16.
Like, look at this wick, dude. Yeah, that's 1579.
Yeah. So, anyways, it looks like it's very similar to the CFX stuff that I like to joke about, but you know, that same kind of trade, that same kind of thing where it's like, you know, if Bitcoin is going to come back down through that range, or if whatever else, and then even if it doesn't, this thing could be cooked. That's the thing that I like about finding.
Well, the market believes that rates are going to get cut.
What does that mean?
The market
is pricing in some bullishness.
Tends to believe that rates are going to get cut right now. That's the sense I'm getting.
No, I think. No, look, don't get me wrong. I am.
No, what I mean is like Maker is like it would be a horrible narrative for Maker if rates got cut.
Okay, tell me that, because I actually don't know shit about them. I'm purely
the entire reason Maker's been bullish all the way through here is because they took their fat treasury of DAI or whatever, and they fucking converted it into T-bills, earning like 5% yield.
Oh, sick! I love that.
Yeah, but if rates get cut, like even if that doesn't really matter nominally to Maker's treasury, like people will dunk on Maker.
Yeah, well, everything about that setup, like that chart to me, looks like this is where you take the short against the high. I tightened it a little bit to like 1600 today because there was like a 4 hour M that came in. So I was just like, oh, I guess I can trade some of this right against that local high. Like that's a bit more cowboy. I think the 1630 or whatever the high is, the wick on the left, 1651 probably. I think, you know, that's, to me, that's like if I'm looking for a hedge of a coin where, like you said, it could just go down even if things continue to go sideways and up. And then go look at CFX, because that's where I'm really comparing this to. It's the same kind of idea. It's like, I feel like unsure about things, so I'm just going to take this hedge. CFX is still come off, right? Because this is the thing. It already had its party, right? When it was at those highs.
Sure did.
When it was at those highs, my thesis was like,
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. It's
even if
kind of
I'm
the
not-
same setup
yeah,
here.
so that lower high that came in after the high, like that's where we're at with Maker, I think. And then you just have this. I mean, I would have been out of the short by now because like Bybit would have kicked me off in September, but this is that to me.
Yeah.
It's a similar kind of idea, and then you might get bailed out even if Bitcoin does move higher, because this thing just probably cooked anyways, and Maker that is. So, and now that you're telling me that there's like a narrative too, I was just doing it on price, but I looked through maybe
I
100,
could just see
150
that
charts
playing
yesterday.
out
And
being because it just seems like it's stopping in the middle of nowhere on higher time frames.
yeah,
Like, this doesn't really make all that much sense on the weekly. On the monthly, it's like why? But it makes sense locally, and then like so my mind goes to like, well, how would that make narrative sense? Like, what would have to happen in the next few months? People continue to get like louder about potential rate cuts, and
well, if you go to the weekly, there is a resistance at like 1684, and that wick high was like 1655. So like,
right,
you know,
yeah.
it did kind of come into like,
And I mean,
little
this is like high volume weekly. What did they have news in May of 22? What?
Oh yeah, that wick on
Look at that
On
fucking-
Binance. Oh yeah, you're looking at Binance. That wick went to like 2200.
Yeah,
That's
so like
ridiculous. I don't know what that
if
is.
we draw that right,
Um,
like that's your zone right there.
yeah, all I know is if there's market weakness, this thing's probably going to out suffer. Let's just put it that way.
That seems to make sense. The last thing I wanted to tell you about was Node Monkeys ordinals.
Ooh,
This is alpha. Everybody
like
listen up. This is alpha.
Yeah, hit me.
Node Monkeys. It's sick. The team is sick. Fucking guys. Basically, like Hxro put me on game about like people to follow. And there's just been a shitload of buzz about Node Monkeys. Ordinals dropping soon. And what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. They fucking are going to do like basically no whitelists except for protocols that donate to charity. They're sending whitelist spots to them if they donate to these qualified charities.
Interesting. I
yeah.
like that. Although typically like green climate projects and charitable projects are like scams.
Oh no. They're gonna mint for a
Not saying
price.
this,
But their argument is that like Bitcoin didn't have a whitelist. I think it's
no,
sick.
it didn't. Bitcoin was a fair launch.
Yeah. Send notes.
Had
Join
12
their
people who
Discord.
knew
if you're
about
out
it and they
there.
got to mine it all.
Yeah. Yeah. The meme is send nodes, like send nudes, but it's nodes.
Oh, nice. So what do we do here? What when, by,
Oh,
how, do?
Join Discord, wait announcement, say send nodes in the Discord.
No. All right.
Contribute to the lives.
You
This
drop a
happened-
link of that in the chat.
100%, 100.
So I actually, I'm gonna punt that off to somebody who does research for me and just see what they think. AKA, like, see if we can just get a slug in there.
Yeah, dude. Send
I like
nodes.
the idea of dabbling. I mean, there's two things about ordinals. They're in their nature that they're ordinal. So, the first one minted is more valuable than the millionth, theoretically. But then also, like, what are we, like 46 million inscriptions in now? And like, there's going to be some quality probably built out where the ordinal number won't matter, the inscription number. I've got the good inscription numbers. I don't know how much of the good like projects. And then it was kind of like there was this meta in the sub 10K where it's like, oh, there's only 200 in this collection, so it's more rare. But the other side of that coin is like, yeah, but there's a small community and no one cares, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
when you have a thing of 10,000 mint, there's 10,000 holders, or usually like 1,500 holders, but there's still just a lot. And I think you lose a lot of that, hype and excitement when you only have like a couple hundred guys, and most of us own like 3 or 4 of the 200. So there's just maybe like there's either going to be a time when it's like treasure hunters and anything sub 10K is worth a Bitcoin or more, or there's not. And I'm going to wait for that time where I'm going to write it because I don't even know how to move it out of the Sparrow wallet that it's in.
Have you ever heard of this, dude? SpaceMesh?
No.
So Hxro also put me on game to this recently. He said his friends were bullish on it, but he didn't know about it. So I downloaded this client. So it's a new blockchain, and it validates with something it calls proof of space time. So you can validate proofs using disk space instead of so much processing power. So you don't need as much compute to validate the network. And I have a pretty powerful computer. I have lots of storage space. So I'm downloaded as client. And then basically it portions off, like, for me with my processor to still be able to do things on my computer, like it was like 13 terabytes I could probably store and validate. So it partitions that. It takes like a day to download. And then you're running nodes per terabyte that you're using. You probably get about 40 SMH per month per terabyte. So
you're just running that node on your home computer?
That's right. It's not necessarily a home computer. It has like, I built it and it's very fast.
Okay.
But
sorry I didn't mean to insult your.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, like,
it's a 4090.
If you got like a computer you didn't build, like probably you can. If you have a gaming computer, probably but it's about storage.
Yeah, sick. I got a 3090X. It feels like it's 10 years old already.
3090X RTX?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
3090 RTX or whatever it is. Yeah.
So this is the thing. It's about storage space. It's not about speed of compute. That said, speed of compute dictates how much storage space you can actually validate in a 12-hour validation period.
True. Yeah.
So if you have a faster CPU, you can store more space and thereby you can get more SMH. And when you're mining, it's actually called smeshing. And so now I'm smeshing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you say I'm smeshing,
I
won't be concerned.
I'm constantly smeshing. What do you mean?
Okay, sweet. Does it slow your computer down? Have you noticed any performance?
No. So when you install it, you create a wallet and then you create a node, and it goes through this whole process where you're like, okay, do you want to test all of the benchmarks? Okay, here's all the benchmarks available to you for compute. It tests them and tells you, like, if you were to use this, how much storage space could you have? So the higher you go, the more fucked your computer is for normal use, but the more storage space you can validate. So
okay, yeah.
So I'm using half of my computer's power, which leaves me more than enough to do what I usually do.
Yeah, which is run Google Chrome on our gaming computers.
Yeah. Well, also I do like video.
Stations will be Google Chrome, not your NVIDIA. I'm like, I still want the 3090. Okay, real quick fire. I got to run, but Tia, sky high, heading higher.
I just think Tia is like a fucking sell it double or triple digits kind of thing. Like, grab a bag, grab a bag. You're not going to care where you grabbed it if tag the fucking 382.
Yeah, buddy, you know me. Wait, no, I'm not. I wish I had a bid sitting down there. I bought it somewhere in this muck, but it was not the tag.
Okay. Well,
but I do notice today it's starting to go higher. I'm liking the volume picking up, and I think this consolidation is near its end.
This screenshot will live on forever in the pit. It is now a pit meme.
Yes.
And I'm pretty happy about Tia.
I remember that day. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That's how you say that.
Right fucking now. And I think it's also like, it doesn't really matter what it does in the next couple of months because it's probably going to reprice like massively from here.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, right?
I'm looking for it to hit $12, at which point I will have a free position for the entire cycle, and I don't care what it does.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. That said, like, it's entirely possible that it performs like Sol Lunavex like type stuff this time around.
Yeah. No, I was talking on Tuesday about this idea that, like, you know, ETH didn't really have an adoption curve. I mean, it was the centerpiece of crypto, but in the grand scheme of the world, it's not broken through yet.
No.
You could argue, relatively speaking, that nothing is built on Ethereum, and it hit 500 million or $1 billion market cap. And so when I look at, you know, you used to look at something that's like 2 billion, you're like, oh, there's not much upside there because it's 2 billion. But like some of these winners, these alt L1s, whatever, whoever comes out of this with like a killer dApp or a network of educational facilities building all their records on chain, like whatever it is, you know, sub 10 billion market cap alt L1s, like there's a tremendous amount of upside in those. I think as we mark up, you know, I think there's going to be a handful of $1 trillion networks. And, you know, that's, what is that? 10,000 times 100.
Yeah.
I think there's Oh my god, I'm having a trouble doing math right now. Trillion, that's a billion. Trillion divided by yeah, 100x. So 10 billion could 100x it if it becomes $1 trillion network, and I think there's going to be a few of those. So at the 1 to 5 billion, you know, so like to your point, yeah, something like TIA, SEI. There's a new one that keeps pumping. I don't know what's going on over there. Sai.
Yeah, say people are saying it's fucking Solana's little brother.
Yeah, so like things like this that are all in that like even sub 5 billion market cap. This early in a cycle, I'd love to just get free positions in those where you're kind of like you said, you could just like hold on to that and just wait for triple digits.
Why? How do you get data about what the fuck is going on here? I'm trying to get data about ETH market cap going back. Oh, I have to. Okay, hold on one second. Let's look at this.
Oh, I looked at like historical data on Gecko, but yeah, you could probably find it in Coin.
So let's get all this shit off the chart, and let's talk Turkey here.
Yeah, so I mean, it hit 500 billion, you know, barely getting out of bed on the global scale.
So,
SEI is coming into like a sort of pump chaser zone right now. I did want the same. So I have TIA. I don't have any of this SEI. I don't know what to call it. I'm uncomfortable calling it something. What do you call it? Say?
yeah.
Okay.
Or say.
I want to call it Sai, but then like my Asian accent sneaks in. And you know, Russell Peters got me, you know, this Asian accent that sneaks in from time to time. So I don't know what to call that thing. Sai.
What the hell is going on with my shit? Basically, what I'm saying is that like, what if
I don't know how to use TradingView?
What if, yeah, dude, what if this cycle on ETH is fucking the last cycle on Sol, and Sol does this?
Yeah. No, that's basically what people are expecting. I think, you know, this idea that like
makes
this
perfect sense.
It makes perfect sense. It made perfect sense through that trough that Solana was suffering through in the $7 to $20 range, where like people are like dunking on it. And it was like, bro, do you like, how long have you been in ETH Maxi? Do you remember Ethereum? Like late 2017, it was 2-minute block times. There was nothing built on it. It was trash.
You could just like,
you know, Crypto Kitties crashed it around Christmas 2017. Like, you know, it was bad. And then it went to friggin' $86 coming off its like $1,400 highs. And it troughed, and then look at it. So yeah, I think
61x off of the lows, off of the COVID lows.
Yeah. I'll never forget the very bottom before COVID, like the original bottom, some project, I don't remember them because they don't exist anymore, but they started shorting. They made an announcement. They were like, we are going to use some of our treasury to like short Ethereum. Because like that's the problem. That there was the ICO craze, and then all the projects held the fucking ETH. They were using it to fundraise, but then they never sold it because it kept going up and they were being greedy. And then eventually they all cashed out to like actually have money to fund their project. And at the very bottom, some project tweeted out that they were going to like start essentially shorting and trading Ethereum. It was like $86, and that marked the low. It's fantastic.
That's insane. Yeah,
it was great. It was magical.
Well, yeah, I do think that like Solana could entirely, what is it like?
Moon.
Yeah, like so, like let's say like 61x, right? Like where are we at off of the lows? We're at a 5x. So from here, that would be like a 10x. Right? Like Solana could 10x from here.
Yeah.
But it could go to 1K. Like that would not be as crazy even as what ETH did.
Mm-hmm. Well, you also have to think as more things are built on Solana, there will be more things to do with your Solana other than sell it to generate value. So whether that's like staking it into protocols, you know, stuffing it into Borrow Lens, like, you know, aping it into NFTs that are then staked. Like, I don't know. I just feel like the TVL on Solana, the amount of SOL locked up as validators through, you know, what is it? Jito SOL and M SOL. Like there's just more and more things already this year to do with your Solana. So in that sense, yeah, It could moon. It could go way higher than people think because kind of like with the NFT craze, I feel like there was just a ton of Ethereum being bought to buy NFTs.
Yes.
And then through the bear market, you kind of had like the artists eventually just selling their ETH, I guess. But yeah, I think
dude, Mad
there's
Lads are
very
going to
big things
1,000
coming from
SOL,
Solana.
and Solana's going to all-time highs. So I see no problem with like starting to consider like, all right, I know I'm going to deploy fully into this ecosystem for an obvious upside. In what fashion do I want to proceed?
Yeah. Well, you've got me chatting today about it enough, like, you know, as I say it out loud and hear myself and see myself, I'm like, man, you know, there's no reason that I can't just go. The thing is, I've got a massive Hxro stake too, so like I feel pretty exposed.
Yeah, you're pretty exposed to Solana already.
I feel pretty exposed to like a lot of things on Solana. I've got a big helium bag, you know, but yeah, I want somewhere like spread out, a little bit of play money, and if anything, just to jinx it into coming into the zones I really want to size up in, I'm just going to start punting out like little bags of GUAC and whatever else. What are some other cool ones? Give me like 5, like GUAC.
I'm not really into Solana meme coins right now. I'm more into
Excuse me, did you just call GUAC a meme coin?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like it is considered a meme coin,
right? Flowmatic is like a new interesting one. Obviously, very much tied to Here Network, but I like it. I like some of the dusters too. Like there's some dusters that are going to come back. Radium is still relevant, still cool. Full flagging at 40 cents right now.
I'm pretty sure Bonk is the SHIB of
Bonk
of the cycle.
You know what's crazy too? Remember how much time we spent like longing Bonk and trying to long it?
Dude. Yes, I never sold the Bonk that I bought. Like there's a bunch
what did I swap? What did I swap Bonk for? Oh, I swapped. I had like an old bag of Bonk that I got from like Staking Hero, because Staking Hero you get Bonk, right? And I used a lot of that to swap to YOLO. To be fair, at a good price.
Gonna come back, huh?
I think NOLO. I mean, I'll tell you this: it's not dead,
right?
And it's being priced like it's completely dead. I actually bought a little bit like last week just because I was like, well, it can't be dead. You know, because
what is it? Does it have any utility, or does it not matter?
It's up 30% today. Well, it's on ETH too, so it's not gonna have its Solana.
Wait, they moved to ETH?
Yeah, man. YOLO NOLO pivoted to.
What a dumb idea, dude! They're probably kicking themselves right now.
It worked at the time. I know, it's funny. Somebody just commented today. They're like, "Oh, you probably should have stayed on Solana." Yeah. But no, they hinted in the Discord at something coming up end of week. An announcement of sort of what their new direction will be. So it's kind of hinting at two things. It's hinting that they're giving up on the exact thing they're doing right now, which is like building.
Look at that, dude.
Discord perp trading bot through Dexterity, Hero Network's Dexterity. So it sounds like that they're pivoting from that, but they also sound like they're pivoting to something presumably good. And like the other day, they were priced at like 300K market cap at like 8 cents. I was like, yo, I'm just gonna put an ETH into this because I can't imagine. Yeah. So I saw that bull div at the low, and it was just a puke low. It was absolutely like it was. Yeah. Down. It was your, quintessential like quote unquote dead feeling token. And I happened to catch it like 8.5 cents. I was like, fuck it, I'm buying a little bit of this. But
damn, we all need to buy YOLO.
Not up to 12. Advice. Yeah, it's up to 12.5 cents now. I mean, I've got a lot of this stuff, man. I was an LP. I'm wrecked. I got a stake bag. It's wrecked. So I like almost doubled my bag with one ETH. So, I figured I had to. I might do one more. It looks like somebody's in there buying today on speculation of whatever they're going to announce tomorrow. But
yeah, dude. Yeah.
So, this isn't some hot alpha. You know me, I like to see a trough. I like to see a deep, long trough of then breaking out. We're getting that all over the market. But
I think that on Solana right now, it makes sense to be a momentum trader.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. And that's Pump Chaser Zone, man. Like, as we're talking, GUAC is already bouncing off that 382. So I need to go. Fuck out of here because I still got to move some USDC over to the chain. And then I'm going to just punt my first little bag of like, I dare you to be the top kind of bag.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be. I think that thing's going to get one more leg, and I'll sit back and be like, haha, I'm a genius. And then it'll come back all the way through my entry into the reload zone through like the spring or whatever. but we're gonna find out. We're gonna fuck around, and we're gonna.
Let's go. Well, it's been a lovely session with
Yeah.
you all. Thank you so much for coming. All 45 of y'all's. It's just heating up, baby. And obviously something's got to give one way or another soon. So I'll see you next week for a saucy, probably, episode of The Pit.
Dude, I'm looking forward to it. We got a new month, the last month of 2023 coming up next week.
Yeah. Wow.
Next month. Tomorrow.
Santa Claus rally
yeah.
or tax selling. We'll see. We'll find out on the next episode of The Pit.
We'll get after it, guys. Take care, man. Take care, y'all.